Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to the third installment in the video series of a DIY build of a belt sander. In this video I intend to get the platform ready for the rest of the installations. So to do that I need to cut some metal legs, and that way I can raise the platform off of whatever surface I'm going to be working on. As you can tell, this cutoff saw is on my table saw, and I tend to do a lot of that when I'm working on videos. So I need to, instead of having metal on metal, I'm going to make end caps for all the legs. And this is going to be made out of this material here, which is Delrin, which is a trademark name for acetal. It's machinable plastic, and I find it very useful. I tend to use it a lot for making valves and such in when I'm working on aquariums, but in this case I'm just going to use it as you know, those tennis balls people put on chair legs and whatnot to prevent skids on or scrapes on their floors. Same thing here, except it's just my table saw. So what you're watching here in fast forward is the process of me getting each of those legs ready to be attached to the base of the belt sander. The first drill bit you saw me use was a sufficient diameter and is acting like a countersink basically, and allows me to fit the bolt head up inside the leg. And then the other one is just there to allow me to fit the bolt through. And then what I'm going to do now is trim all these to not exactly the same length, but at least roughly. It's not a machinist parallel I'm using or anything, it's just a piece of acrylic I tend to use for these things. It just allows me to align whatever item I'm cutting off and trim it to the length that's necessary. Now I'm going to use this is machining the Delrin for the end caps, and I'm going to do this in normal speed, just so you can see it. I haven't machined any plastic on any videos I've made so far, so you're seeing it for the first time. This is actually very easy to machine. You can actually use the full cutting surface and take off huge chunks at once, which is kind of cool when you're cutting stuff down to size. Here though, I'm just facing it so that it's nice and flat and true, and I will flip it over and do the same to the other side. And then what I'm going to do is use this drill bit to drill the hole to fit over the end cap. I don't have a drill bit that fits exactly the diameter of the legs, so what I'll do is just cut an initial hole to proper depth, and then I'll switch over to boring bar, and I'll finish it off using that. As you can see, it just cuts really nice, gives you nice pieces off, and it's actually a dream to work with. I use it an awful lot, not so much in these videos so far obviously, but I tend to make valves and such for aquarium systems, and I find it's, well, besides the fact that it doesn't rust or anything, it's very nice to work with. You may have noticed before the lathe got turned on here, this piece of Delrin didn't seem to be set up against anything, but what actually happened was before I turned it on, I set the depth by using that same piece of acrylic I had for the legs when I was cutting their final to size. So this is actually set to the same distance as it was then. So when I'm drilling the hole here, I'm actually cutting to a reasonably precise depth. Obviously, again, not a parallel, so it's just good enough for what I'm going to be doing. And this is just the final bit of me shaving off the last amount to fit these legs in. And also when I'm using the boring bar, because the drill bit is not, you know, it's not a flat end bit, so I'm also bottoming out the hole. And here I'm cutting them all to final length. And what I'm going to do now is show you, well, it's not exactly perfectly accurate, but it's actually fairly close. So there you saw the countersink, and we're going to fit it inside its home. We're going to measure the length here, and then I'm going to show you it compared to one of the other ones. And then I actually do end up checking all four, but for well, making this video length sufficiently short enough so that you want to watch it, I'm just showing two of them. And that's close enough for me. I may end up having to make these slightly adjustable later on, but for the moment that's good enough. And now it's time to drill the holes in the base. For that I've built this jig. It's sitting on top of my milling machine. I tend to use a lot of jigs because first off, it gives you, well, repeatable holes in this case, and also I find it kind of expedites things. I don't need to remeasure every time I want to drill a hole. I just flip it and make sure the spot's nice and clean where it was sitting, and then drill the hole. And once you have the jig built, these are only 4 holes, so it doesn't really, save you any real time or anything, I suppose, but for me, it's just quite simple and straightforward that way. I'm not clamping this down because it has a lot of weight to itself, and it's really not going to go anywhere anyway. And then I'll just show you 2 of these holes, and then we'll move on to the next step, which is showing you how the legs all go together. Now, for some stupid reason, and I'm not sure why, I have a whole pile of these bolts, and they range from ½ inch all the way up to 3 inches, and I actually could have just picked a bolt that was the right length, but for some stupid reason, I picked these bolts, and I might have just been tired, I'm not sure, and then I realized, well, they stick up an awful lot, so, well, I guess I should trim them. And again, all I could have done was just pick a shorter bolt. There may have been some kind of logic when I was doing this, but whatever. So now what I've done is I just set up my cutoff saw here, and I'm just gonna so I'm just clamping this in place using the bolt head. The nut's actually on it here as well, just to hold the whole bolt parallel so when I cut it off. Again, I'm not sure why I'm doing this because as you'll see momentarily, I don't cut it so that it's true. It's not going to be flat or flush to the nut. It's just going to stick up somewhat. And so, again, I may have had some idea. Fortunately, actually, as this turns out, if I do decide to make these adjustable, I'm going to have enough bolts sticking through that I will be able to, add another nut or whatever, or washers, so I can make these adjustable. But anyway, for what it's worth, the legs are ready to be attached, and there you go. It's trimmed, but unnecessary, making more work for myself. And now I'm just adding them all on so that you can see what it looks like here. I should have been keeping in mind that I need this ready soon. Well, there you go. Reasonably flat, you can move around, doesn't skid anything, and it's all set for the next step. In this case, mounting the motor. So what I've done here is I just picked up a piece of scrap wood. I just put the indicator for which side was square. What I'm going to do is set it up as flush as possible on all sides, and then I'm just going to mark the holes. Then I'm going to swing this around and line it up where its final position is going to be. The 2 factors that are going to be important here is making sure that the motor is square to the platform, and also that when I mount it, when the drive wheel's on, I don't want it to overhang the edge of the platform. I want everything to be inside. And once I have that lined up properly, I'm going to mark it and trim it on the table saw here, so it's nice and square. And then we'll move that over to the milling machine, and I will use it again as a template and clamp it in place and drill 4 holes. Now you notice when I'm doing the drilling here, I am bobbing the drill bit in and out. I tend to do that a lot when I'm cutting through a material when it's against another material. I don't want any of those aluminum shavings to wedge themselves between the 2 pieces, and then it basically moves my template around, so they're not as accurate. Not really necessary here because there are there's a lot of free play in those holes, as you saw in the on the motor, so it'll allow me to actually have some freedom I can wiggle this back and forth and allow me to square things up. But again, just trying to keep things reasonably accurate. So this is the end of this video. Thank you for watching. The next video, I'm going to move over to adding the brackets and the arms for the idle wheels, and I can drill 4 holes. And we're going to get on to the exciting bits, getting this belt sander up and running. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hey everybody, thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, please slap a like below, or if you want to see more of this type of video or some of my other work, please subscribe to my channel. And I will see you there. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.